women, and even Prince Edward in London was also, they stripped him off of his royalty because of women. R. Kelly right now is in prison because of what? Women.
Babies.
And even babies. So you could see that Solomon is telling us something, that you have to stick to what you have rather than trying to go somewhere. If you see all this, because when you look at the Bible, describe the lady with a flurry. Oh, my husband is not at home. He took a bag of what? Money. Listen, it tells us that you have to, what is it called? You have to be satisfied with what you have. Trying to go somewhere else will lead you to a place you don't want to be.
That's right.
There are several lessons we all need to learn. There are times you have to learn from other people's marriage. I recall a long time ago we talked to this couple. Actually, it wasn't the couple, it was actually the lady. And they were having some marital issue. And one of the advice we suggested was, men like respect. Men like to be respected.
Women do too.
Women do too, but women love. Because when there is a respect, there's also going to be an automatic word, love. Men doesn't want flowers. Their flowers is what? Is respect. So we talked to this person, we said that, can you find a better way of communicating with your husband? And you know what she said? He said, being nice to my husband doesn't work for me. And we said, okay. Did you know that till today they are still having strife? They are even at the verge of divorce right now. Because she wouldn't listen, because she feels that being nice doesn't work for her. And apparently they are still continuing to strive. They are at the verge of what? Getting divorced right now.
That's what my son, his wife is right now.
Yeah. So the question is, if you continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, and you don't see any result, it means you are not what? Learning. And we all have to learn. All of us have to change.
That's right.
You know, let me say this. All of us have to be ourselves. That there are times, for the sake of your family, you have to try not to be yourself. Just adjust just a little bit. If you're a single man, if you're a single man, you do things differently. When you got married, now you have somebody else you have to be responsible or you have to talk to. When I was single, I leave home whenever I want to leave home. I come home whenever I want to what? Come home. And I put my underwears everywhere. When I was what? Single. But now I am married and sometimes I am told where to put stuff. It's all part of it. Because if you want it to work, you have to adjust your attitude. Now, I have to always tell my wife where I am. Of course, she also has to tell me where she is. Because that's how it works. Because if you don't do that, then you are back to your single life. Because marriage is about what? Adjustment. Everybody say marriage is about adjustment. All right, write this thing down. Successful marriage do not happen. They are made to happen. I'm going to repeat that again. Successful marriage do not what? Happen. They are what? They are made to happen. We all came from a different family. Even if you came from the same family, all of you are different. Me and my brother are totally different. For me to coexist with my brother, I have to adjust my attitude, and so is my brother, for us to what? To keep living together. So, we have to learn through every circumstance of life. If you don't learn, you will continue to make that mistake over and over and over again. I have said this thing before. There is a saying, before I say what I want to say, they have what we call the 5 love languages. How many of you have heard of it? The 5 love languages. Everybody has differences in terms of how they love each other. Some people love the what? Is it quality time? Others love gifts. Others love, what is it called? Physical touch. Act of service. And so on and so forth. So you have to look at what your husband and your wife love and do that. Because if you are comparing somebody else married to your marriage, it will never work. Amen? Amen? To some people, act of service is their number one priority. That means that they want, if you do something for them, they feel love. If you cook for them, they feel love. There are some people, they always like to eat home-cooked meal. If you don't give them home-cooked meal, they mean that you are not loving them. So if your husband loves home-cooked meal, cook it for him. I am not that type. Amen. I am not that type. So the question is, don't go ask me, why do you guys go out all the time and my husband always want to eat? That's what he wants. Give it to him. Amen. So everybody is what? Different. There are some people, they are big on gift. If you don't give them anything during their birthday, you are going to be in big trouble. And there are some people, they care less whether you give them something or not. So each individual is what? Different. So you have to learn your man and you have to learn about your woman. Otherwise, you'll continue to make the mistake every single time. Amen? Deacon, you have to learn how Cynthia is. And Cynthia, you have to learn how your husband is. That's all it is. No 2 women are the same. Even your own sisters, you are not the same. You can be 2 sisters and you are totally different. That's what I wanted to say before I close. There was one more thing I want to talk about. I might close here. Okay. When we get married, one of the things I like watches. Have you seen? I always buy watches all the time. I don't know what I do, but it's something that I like. That's me. Your husband don't like watches. Okay, that is me. So, I feel that every woman should love watches just like I do. So guess what? Every anniversary, either it's our wedding anniversary, her birthday, guess what I go buy her? I go buy her watch. True story. I go buy her watch. And I buy her perfume and watch. Those are the things I know. And I go buy. I realized that after several years, she has all these watches and she have all these Giveaway and what is it called? Diamond, I can't remember. All this perfume and it's sitting there. She's never worn this perfume. She's never worn those watches. And I realized that. Yes. And I realized that I am wasting my money. She's not a jewelry person. So now I have to look at what she likes. And then she's also not a gift person. So when it's her birthday, all she wanted to go to Olive Garden. That's all I want to do. So I am good. I would love to go to Olive Garden on her birthday rather than buying expensive watch. That is what I have. But to you, it's not the same. When it's her birthday, she wants a flower. When it's her birthday, she wants how do you call it? She wants something. There are some people, if you don't take them out for a Valentine's Day, you are going to be in big trouble. If you don't give them a flower, you are going to be what? In big trouble. Know your spouse. Everybody say learning. You have to know your spouse. Sorry that I'm preaching about this. But that's how we learn from each other. Because if you don't learn from people, something is going to happen.
This
Go
can
ahead.
actually be applied to friends. It can be
Yes.
applied to kids, your parents.
Yes. Some people, they wanted to have, what is it called? A big birthday party every single year. Some people, they wanted it mellow. Just call a few friends and eat. That's it. Know your limit. Know what you can do. Know what you cannot do. It is so important that life is all about learning from people, learning from your friend, learning from your husband. Because if you don't do that, you will keep making the same mistake over and over again. And do you know what insanity is? Do you know what insanity is? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. People think that when he said this guy, it has insanity problem, you think it's crazy. Sometimes you are crazy than the one you think is crazy, because you are continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting something to change.
Can't change if they don't want to.
Amen. Remember, no two marriages are the same. No two friendships are the same. There are some friends that are demanding. There are some friends that are less demanding. I have this story, and then I'll close with it. I came from a place where when you have to marry, they call it dowry, right? You better, if you want to get married to a, dowry is actually in the Bible. You have to bring all these things. They will give you a list of the things you have to bring before you marry their daughter. Yes. Sometimes they will say you have to bring a goat. What are some of the things? A what? A pan, a plate, clothes, all kinds of things to be able. And you have to bring money to be able to meet the standard to marry their daughter. Deacon, did you do that to get your wife? Okay, well, good for you. You didn't spend that money, so you good. I pocket that money because I don't have to do that. So, but there is somebody recently actually from the place in Ghana. All they requested from the husband to be is, he wanted them to give them a Bible. He wanted to give the daughter a Bible and a ring. A Bible and a ring. A Bible and what? A ring. Never compare two children. Don't be worried because your child can play basketball. Maybe your child can play football. Maybe your child can play tennis. Maybe your child, everybody else is different. Learn. Maybe they can't play any of those, but maybe they can become a good lawyer. We have to keep learning. Say this thing, and I'm going to say this, then I close. When you stop learning, you stop growing. When you stop learning, you do what? You stop growing. Growth is not determined by how long you've lived. Growth is not determined by how wide you've been. Growth is determined by your commitment to learning. This means that you can be old at age, and you can be old, and you can be old at age, and you can be young at 80. Remember this. When you stop what? When you stop learning, you stop what? Growing. Please don't stop growing. Keep learning and continue growing until you get to a place where God really wants us to be. Amen. And God bless you all. Amen. Let's give the Lord a mighty clap offering. I'll continue on this. Can you give us music? I'll continue this about some of the lessons Solomon learned. He learned through all kinds of, sometimes I couldn't imagine how he learned through all these things. He would just be sitting at his house just looking. Amen. I want you to Pray that God will give you the ability to learn. That you go home, you look at your flowers and learn something about your